Welcome, everybody, to the House of Kayfabe right here on the YouTube channel. Thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for watching. As always, my name is Adam Harris. Happy to be here along with the only Derek Jones that matters and my good buddy, my best good buddy, Matt Mullins, who's in the house, back in the House of Kayfabe. Fellas, good to see you. It's that reflective time where we're all looking back on 2022. And in the House of Kayfabe, you know, we're known as some of the collectors. We're nerd marks marking out about figures and toys and trading cards all year long. And so we decided to come at the House of Kayfabe with our top 3 figure purchases of 2022. I'm excited. Derek Jones, was it a good year for fig hunting?
It was a great year for fig hunting. But before we go into that, I gotta say this because it just the start of this video brings me joy. And I don't know what it is, but the 3 of us on a video together. No Steve, no Brian, no Lou, none of those guys. Just nerds being nerds brings joy to my heart because I know that you guys are on the same wavelength as me. And you know, we say that we're the collectors of the group, but I was in Steve New's office yesterday, and that dude's got a collection in his office, much less what he has at his home and somewhere else in storage. And it's only because he's got more money than us. Let's face it.
That's true. He can get whatever he needs.
He can buy whatever he wants. You know, it doesn't. But we enjoy it because the things we buy because it has meaning. We're not buying it just to own it. No offense, Steve. Sorry, bud.
That's right.
We're out there actually looking for very specific items that just bring pure joy to us, and we give up that discretionary funding just for these things. And as you can see, I've got some things, and
no question. And Brian Resner, you know, the resident landlord at the House of K. He's got quite the collection too. Yeah. But you're right. We all search for those things that mean a lot to us. I mean, Steve New has some of the belts from the ICW days. He's got a Tully Blanchard robe, you know, those are the sort of things. But then there's also the fun part of it's like figuring out the pre-orders and looking for stuff on the shelves and looking for stuff out in the wild, which I know we all get a kick out of it. Matt's texting me all the time from various Walmarts, Targets, and thrift stores throughout the state. And I know, Derek, you see some stuff having worked at Walmart before. You have a personal connection to having seen some of this stuff fly off the shelves. So what do you think? Should we get started? Should we start with number 3?
Let's go.
You want to go first, Matt?
I'll go first. My number 3.
Oh, man.
There's going to be some caveats on this, I think. We're going to have some disclaimers and everything. Not everything on my list was released in this calendar year, but I received them all. I purchased them all in this calendar year.
Yeah. Man, that's so tough.
I kicked a couple things off from eBay too, just because everything I bought I either pre-ordered or I found on the shelves out in the wild.
So as you guys remember, WrestleCade last year, I had the original San Francisco Toy Makers WCW Series 1 Stang signed.
It's beautiful, beautiful piece.
But I sold that thing because it wasn't my favorite. I mean, I had an attachment to the WCW figures because I had some of them as a kid, but I never really loved that Sting figure. The Sting figure I loved was Series 3, that Stang.
Very nice.
I love that figure. Glad I picked it up, got it at a really good price on the eBay, got a little curve in the card, but that thing has been toted. It's not bent, just creased.
Those are and it's hard these days, man. And I will say this was on consideration for me. I bought this same figure, a Menton card this year too. What's the price tag on there? What's the establishment?
That's the Amazing Toy Store, $3.99.
Whoa, very nice, very nice.
Just a tad more I paid.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love that figure, man. I love everything about it. That's just so
I do too. And it's like, as they talked about on the original San Francisco Major episode, it's kind of a weird release because it was not a current Sting at that time, and it was based on was it the UK Galoob?
Yeah,
or something like that.
The UK Galoob release. There's a small one, and it's so toyetic though.
So toyetic, and I don't have one handy, but the 91 WCW Impel cards have him in that black jacket with the pink fringe and everything, you know, really iconic. That's a cool figure to display with those cards.
He does kind of look like a band director, though. Like
it does look like a band, yeah.
Sting majorette. But I mean, it's still awesome. It's just funny that like they didn't get the picture, even though we know that the picture exists for a reference. They didn't use the picture behind him. They just used the original picture.
No.
But cool figure. Glad I have it. It's awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. Is it okay if I go next?
Absolutely.
I pre-ordered this one. This one it comes with a tail because I pre-ordered it in November of 21 on Walmart.com. And they're kind of notoriously slow for slow delivery for pre-orders. And so it had been going and I kept getting notifications that it got delayed. Shipping is delayed another few months, and I was expecting it to keep getting delayed.
Before you show it, is it a Sting figure?
It's not a Sting figure. Oh, okay. It's not a Sting figure.
Because they did that to me on a Sting figure.
Oh, man. And it's like so disappointing to get those emails, but it also like it just builds the anticipation. You're like, it's going to get here. It's going to get here. And lo and behold, and here's the thing is that I moved in April of this year. And so before I even realized it, I got a delivery notification and I realized it's going to the old address, and it's going to come FedEx or UPS, and the mail forwarding doesn't work for FedEx and UPS. I think Matt had a horror story with that this year as well.
So generation ring got.
Always update your info on FedEx, but this was a figure that most people are probably not going to have a close connection to. It's the Andre the Giant as Bigfoot from the $6 Million Man, a kind of a weird, obscure figure. I'm a big Andre fan, and the reason I wanted to get this figure, and it arrived all banged up. That's the other thing, is it came in a bubble mailer. I ordered 2; they both came banged up. This one's I put it in a case, but it's really not in that great a shape. Maybe if I open it, it would look a little better on the camera here. But here we go. And my brother is 14 years older than me, so he was watching the $6 Million Man, and he remembered this episode of the show. I didn't know anything about it till I read the recent Andre the Giant biography, and there's a whole chapter in there about Andre going to Hollywood, kind of for the first time. A lot of us think about him in A Princess Bride, and that's a figure that's been released, will probably be released again, maybe even in this line, the Hollywood line. But I had no idea that Andre the Giant had played Bigfoot on 1970s television. And my brother said, oh, yeah, that was a memorable episode at the time. And so as soon as I knew that, they released a figure of it, and it's like just hit me in the feels. I just had to have it. What a unique portrayal of the legend of the boss, Andre the Giant. So that's coming in at number 3 for me. What was the question?
Did you send one to your brother?
I should send one to my brother, shouldn't I? Yeah, I should. I didn't think of him that way. He just helped key off the... yeah, right. Maybe he'll become an Andre collector. But shout out to my brother. He gave me my Andre LJN, and he found me a Hillbilly Jim with the hat. So shout out to old Dave Harris out in Texas.
Yeah.
All right, Derek Jones, what do you got? Number 3.
All right. So, you guys putting some story and some feeling into this, and it's just going to make me look bad. Just here's my figure,
Yeah. Give us the backstory.
But in reality, most people that watch this will know that I'm a huge Savage mark. So it's got to be a Savage figure for me.
Okay.
And so, Matt had his mishap with the new Gen Arena back here that I have. And the only reason that I purchased this new Gen Arena was to get this Macho Man Savage figure, this Ultimate Edition. I absolutely love this figure. I love Savage at the booth. He is a top 5 commentator for me just because I love to listen to that man talk. Love everything about him. So when it come out that they were going to make the figure of him as the commentator, it's like, I got to have that.
Wow.
So I 100% bought that monstrosity.
It takes 2 hours to build
for this. Yes.
What my only beef with it is because I ended up getting it too.
It doesn't fit anywhere.
Well, it was supposed to come with a table. It was supposed to come with an announce table.
It's in the box.
Is it in the box?
It's in the box. It's got the monitors and the headset.
You guys haven't opened it either one.
Of the box.
Oh, baby. I didn't know.
It's in here.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. And I got to say, like, as somebody who watched the very first episode of Raw, Savage is a commentator in that time period, and he's the voice of that stuff, and he's hilarious, but also serious, and added a lot of reality to his commentary. And there was that classic angle where they had him and Crush kind of split up, and Crush called on the phone, and Savage was trying to talk to him over the commentary, and legendary stuff. I love that figure, man.
Yeah, I love Savage as commentator. I think that's so awesome that we finally get it.
We could do a whole video on Savage figures, though. I mean, it seems like a new one comes out every year.
Absolutely. And talking about him being a commentator, like, he's the perfect color guy because he will talk over anybody he's beside. He doesn't care what you're doing. He's going to continue to provide the color for the show. He didn't care what was going on because he's Macho Man Randy Savage. Like, and his he did not, he lives that gimmick. That's the guy.
Yeah, I love him.
Thinking about Macho Man. A cup of coffee. All right. Well,
not real quick. Just my Macho Man anecdote is that my fiance Casey plays pickleball, which is the fastest growing sport. It was on NBC on Christmas Day. It was wild. But when you're
a champion,
she's a champion pickleball player. It's true. When you're at the line and hitting it back and forth, it's called dinking. So every time she starts talking about it, no matter who she's on the phone with, I come up and I go, dinking.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Only on the House of Kayfabe. Here we are. All right. We're looking over our top purchases of 2022. Be sure to like and subscribe. We've done some cool reviews already. Our favorite matches of the year. We did a memoriam post. So be sure to get your nostalgia on here on the House of Kayfabe channel. I'm going to go with one that was somewhat of a controversy this year, I would say, I guess. I don't know. But one thing we could talk about is the new independent figures that came out this year. A ton of independent companies, toy makers, whatever you want to call them, released very interesting figures. Power Town is coming out next year. The Major Wrestling Figure Podcast did a whole line of Bendums. They had a ringside exclusive that came out as well. My Brian Myers Heels and Faces arrived this year. And this is another one that I pre-ordered way back. I looked it up. It was in August of 2021, the original Bash in Beckley. I was in Beckley when I pre-ordered this figure. And I'm going to have to reach back right behind me to the Atom Bomb shelf for this one from Cella Toys. And I wasn't really intending to have him out of the package, but he's out of the package. It's the green Fantasy Gear Atom Bomb Cella Toys. I love the tattoo. Sadly, these figures arrived to a lot of people around the country off the card. It was heartbreaking, but thanks to the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, they had kind of warned us. That's how they talked about that's how theirs arrived. And so I wasn't completely surprised when that happened. I didn't send mine back. There was a process to do it and send those back. I didn't do it. I just as soon rather keep it. I have the cards. If I want to attach one to the card, I could do it. I'll figure it out and do it. But as I said, I was actually happy because the figure is out. I could actually touch it. I wouldn't have known what it felt like, what the similarities were to a Hasbro.
Does it have a spring action?
No spring action. There's no action in it. The arms, it does have articulation just on the arms. No waist or head articulation. The goggles do come off, but I've never pulled them off, and I probably will not because
they have like 3 variations, right?
No, I don't think so. They released a glow in the dark one, I think, that's out there now. So there's a second variation of this one. I don't know if there's a third one.
Now let me get this right, Adam. I believe you're a Atom Bomb completist.
I'm trying. Real hard, man. I'm trying real hard. Thankfully, I got a nice custom this year too from my friend Matt Mullins. This is a nice Atom Bomb custy. You gave me. You also gave me my original Atom Bomb.
Show real quick how the arms come off.
He's a magnetic guy. Oh,
Derek, look at that. So they put magnets on his arms. They just go right back. So
nice.
That's
a safety feature.
All right.
Nice.
This glow in the dark Atom Bomb is pretty. Sorry, I was looking him up over here. He's pretty cool looking.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll have to try to get that one. There was a micro brawler that might have been last year. I think it's like.
How do you?
And this happened with lots of my favorite people this year. And I wrote down to make sure we talked about this. But the Elite line had Charlotte Flair, Sherry Martel, Stephanie McMahon, all people I collect. Dewdrop had a figure that came out this year. Terry Funk had 2 really big figures that came out this year. It's like you can't get a head start on anything anymore because there's still going to be new figures coming out.
Yeah,
and there was an Atom Bomb Major Bendy also.
Yeah, we can also shake our fist at the Major Pod boys that because they're so successful, we can't keep them.
That's right. It's so hard.
That other. Have you seen the grapplers and gimmicks line?
Yes. Yeah.
Man,
the Godfather.
The Smoke Train.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Well, and people are signing up to do this, man. And it says a lot about the market for wrestling figures, I think.
Yeah, I think it's awesome, but it seems like all of them are going for the Hasbro style because of the cost. But if there was a company that did, strictly LJNs, because it doesn't seem like Jazzwares is really pushing any LJN style out. Like they've got 3 or 4 out. Darby, CM Punk's coming.
Is there going to be a CM Punk LJN?
The first one was Cody, 2 different type variations. The one that was
Darby.
recently released was Darby, and then there's a Punk coming out in one of the next lines. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And then there was a Young Bucks that Ringside put out that yeah,
you've probably got that. Yep. Yeah, there it is. There it is. That's it.
But I think that style would be more well received because there's so many retro styles. But
that's an interesting topic. Yeah, I was going to say, is the Hasbro mania going to end, and what does it go to after that? Now, you just saw that today, Derek. What was the new Jeff Jarrett figures coming out?
Yeah, it's coming out in the Hasbro from Hills and Faces.
Yeah,
I thought is that not
Hasbro, but it's like a Mattel, right? Or is it Bone Crunchers? I know they're doing Bone Crunchers. Yeah, they're doing Bone Crunchers.
It was a Jack style.
Yeah, the Jack style.
Not to nerd, not to nerd out on you.
Hope you're following along at home. If they're watching this, they probably know what the hell we're talking about. If not, they're watching some other video on the House of Kayfabe by now. What do you got for number 2, Matt?
Number 2 is in the bubble mailer still. So my friend Adam Harris, I didn't get to get this signed, but I did buy it this year and had to send it along with ASW's announcer himself, Mr. Adam Harris, and he took it and he had Matt Cardona sign it. It is the Last Action Hero.
Nice.
Danny with hook launching action.
With hook launching action.
That is the figure that Cardona used as himself in his Fig Fed when he was a kid. So I thought that would be cool that he would kind of mark out and pop.
He did, and he popped.
Yeah.
You can see that figure on the vlog, on the major vlog. It showed up.
Yeah, it was on there. And I think that was just a cool, different piece in my wrestling collection.
So cool.
Yeah.
And ultra specific too for us fig nerds. I mean, that's really specific. Most people, have no idea what or why you would have a pro wrestler sign that figure.
Yeah, explaining to my fiance why I have an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie figure. She's like, well, "What does that have to do with wrestling, Matt?" And I'm like, "Well, let me tell you that on the Wrestling Figure Podcast, Matt Cardona's first figure that he used for himself was Danny with hook long action." She was like,
"Did you?
You're getting no sex."
Stop buying figures, Matt. Matt Mullins' fiance can say the same thing that Matt Cardona's wife Chelsea can say. Stop buying figures, Matt. There it is. The back of that card. Read it, Matt.
It says, well, it's backwards. Stop buying figures, Matt.
There you go. You had that right there. Handy. Did you guys have a figure of yourself when you were growing up? I did not. I never saw myself as a participant. I had Fig Fed for sure, man.
Hold on 1 second.
Uh-oh. What about you, Derek? You got one too? What is wrong with me? Am I the only one that didn't have an Adam Harris figure?
So prior to shaving my head,
okay,
someone actually had this made for me. Has my tattoos and everything on it.
Okay,
this is DJ Flight, which is the rendition of myself.
Nice. Yeah. Was that your gimmick name, DJ Flight?
That was my gimmick name. Yeah.
Growing up, but because
Derek Jones just showed off his custom, man. He has a custom D Jones.
Let me see it. So this was early days of starting to work and take bumps here there. Had the work name DJ Flight. Got the tattoos. A friend of mine had this made for me.
That's
it's actually a Shawn Michaels head on I'm not sure whose body, and then they painted it up real nice.
They put the tattoos on for you?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow. Real cool.
Got my Lucha Mask tattoo on there.
Wow. That's really cool.
I don't get emotional about a lot, but when that was given to me, I was like, man,
that's huge, man. That's really huge. Yeah.
I feel like who was the kid in Dick Tracy?
I think he was just called the Kid, right? Didn't they just call him Kid?
I feel like
I don't know who played him.
I feel like I used the kid. Maybe is me. I'm not sure. But I definitely had those figures. But
all right,
I did make a figure of myself for a music video.
Shameless plug here.
Yeah,
very nice. I love that, man. I love that.
And this is a to-go to-go lid.
I love it. So creative, man. You're a genius. And your band members?
Yeah. Even collect all four. It was.
Didn't you make your mom one too? Didn't you make?
I did. I made my mom. That was
Debbie.
That was the mail away.
Nice.
Debbie was the mail away.
Still in the bag.
She's got it hanging up. It made her laugh really hard.
Oh man, that's good. That's tremendous. Very nice. Where are we here? Second figure from Derek?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. All right, so if you go back to an earlier episode, you will know why this figure means so much to me. And I'm pretty sure it's the very first episode we did on YouTube. And it was the return of CM Punk. So it's the first dance figure, CM Punk, which I absolutely love. And one of the things that I talk about anytime we talk about figures is the packaging. I'm so critical over packaging. And the fact that this is the ice cream bar, it's such a cool figure. Like, the packaging is absolutely beautiful.
Wow, cool. Look at that.
I'm a huge CM Punk guy, so I'm a little indifferent about him at the moment, but I'm still going to be a huge CM Punk guy. I just got to let it, settle down.
Well, and that moment is.
But this moment in wrestling was super special to me because,
absolutely.
Again, big
and it's enshrined in a figure now. It's enshrined. Right. Would you read the back of that there for me before you put it away? What is the back like on the bottom left there somewhere? It says something.
It's just got AEW Rampage First Dance 8/20/21 Chicago, and then it's got his signature on the other side.
8/20/21.
Yeah,
way cool.
Wasn't that one of the top ringside figures of the year?
Number 6 on ringside.
I think that's right. Yeah.
People were really after that figure.
Yeah, number 6 on ringside, and his other one, the Unrivaled down here was number 1. I'm pretty sure.
Unmatched is what it says. Yeah,
because the Unrivaled is the Walmart exclusive. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, gotcha. And I had that pulled up. I'm not so quick that I can just say unmatched versus unrivaled because I've never been really clear on what the difference was.
Silver and gold.
There you go. Exactly. That's the only difference I could pick out. Did you guys notice any like fig warmers or like was there anything you just saw on the shelves all year long and you thought, are we going to be living with this forever? I mean, there's a few that come to mind. Well, the AEW thing made me think of it because there were a few members of the AEW releases that just stayed on the shelves here, at least here.
Well, I don't know if it was this year or not, but I know Riho and Nyla Rose were pretty permanent shelf warmers for a while.
Yeah,
and then
Nyla Rose is still out there. Yeah.
The WWE Elite Top Picks, the Jeff Hardy figure. That in my personal experience, I still have boxes of him. At our store, he's just not moving whatsoever.
Wow, interesting. And the Ultimates, the Jeff Hardy Ultimates, don't seem to be. Selling too well either.
What was wild to me is that like during the pandemic, I mean, it was a true rarity to see any wrestling figure.
Yeah.
I mean, I went all the time and would take a picture of the empty pegs. So it's funny to see which ones do end up hanging out. I see a lot of Matt Jackson. It's not just because I hate the Bucks. But I forget what series it is, but I see a lot of Matt Jackson with Nyla Rose, and then
the Dark Order is another one that are just most of the Dark Order people are warming the shelves for sure. The Anna Jay figure I see out there, although I don't think it necessarily speaks to the popularity. It might just be mass production. I mean, what do you think about that, Derek?
I think that has a big factor in it because I've had a Kenny Omega sitting on my shelf, and I say mine. I'm talking about where I work. There's an Omega that has been there for a long time.
Really?
Now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's just because of overproduction on him because there's an Omega and a Britt Baker that I've had for quite some time now that just won't go anywhere.
Interesting. I wonder if it's not necessarily that they overproduced it. I think maybe the area got more of a figure. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw somebody post in another Facebook group about that whatever store they had stopped at in Toronto had like 9 Chase figures. Bought them all. So wow. I'm just wondering, I mean, are they not regulating that right?
Interesting.
Wears that, like maybe Beckley, West Virginia is not a hotbed for Kenny Omega, but
and a lot of that, you're talking about having 9 Chase figures. They definitely do not pay attention to when they're packaging those boxes, because that Britt Baker, the same box it came out of had 2 Chase Britt Bakers with that one, along with 2 other figures. And I know that because I'm the one that I opened the box, and I probably brought home both of those Britt Bakers. But
well, I wasn't going to call you out for that, Derek, but you did a good job yourself.
Got a guy. It just turns out of 10.
I was not working.
Okay. All right.
I was not working. I just happened to be there when the toys come in. I went back to the back and opened it up, looked at it. I took it home with me.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, and I think there's a few of the wrestling superstars that are starting to stick around a little long on the shelves here. I think was expecting some of those to show up on Matt's list here. I'm wondering where we should go next. You want to do your top purchase of the year, Matt?
Well, the thing is, I want to talk about the superstar figures.
Good. I knew you would.
I do love them, and because I was a Rimco collector. Hey.
Yeah. This is so cool. I got this one unpunched, which I love.
Yeah, most of them are unpunched because they sit them on the.
They just stand up really well. Yeah, they don't go on pegs.
But yeah, I mean, watch this. Boom. Because I'm not.
Oh, right here on the channel.
Oh, baby.
Let it breathe. Nice.
But
trademark Major Wrestling Figure Podcast.
I think. Oh, brother, lost it.
John Cena here.
This is Randy Hogan. Oh, he was right beside us at WrestleCade. Man, look at that guy.
Cool. Do you like that? Do you like the likenesses?
I think that they really knocked it out of the park with the cartoon like.
I think so too.
I love it because
everything about these figures, man. I love
everything about it. I love the Rimco figures anyway. This is a continuation of that line to me. So I had to make rules for myself, and I think that these figures all really kick ass. I would like to say that my number one is a Superstars, but it's not. Just because I just wanted to give it an honorable mention that these figures kick ass, and I'm going to love opening the rest of them and setting them up with my Rimcos. And unlike Adam, who has the problem with not keeping up with Adam Bomb figures, I'm a Marty Jannetty completist, and he doesn't have figures coming out.
He's not going to have them coming out every year. No, I don't think that's it.
I would like the Marty Jannetty with Iron Sheik getting arrested in the Hotel Marriott figure 2-pack. Marty.
Positive.
I give it a short clothesline, Marty. My number one because of the story, and I hate to be such a mark.
Oh no, you don't.
I can't help it. It happened at WrestleCade. I got the
baby
Mark Marrow, Johnny B. Bad.
Very nice.
This is the Series 2, Johnny B. Bad. And I got him to sign it, and he got so excited. And he told me a great story. He said, this was my first doll. And when they didn't give you any. He said, so you had to figure out what toy stores were going to carry them. And I go to the toy store, and for whatever reason, there's an entire shelf of all Johnny B. Bad figures. So I filled my shopping cart completely up with my own doll. And I go to the cash register. And the lady says, you must really like wrestling. And he holds the figure up to him and he goes, well, it's me. And I thought that story was worth my number one spot.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Wow. Mark Marrow, man. What real legend, man. I was first started watching when Johnny B. Bad was happening, man. I mean, and he was charismatic. Shot the confetti into the crowd, and that sort of thing is what makes a fan out of you when you're that age. When you're 10 years old watching wrestling or 9 years old, that's the zigzag and the ooh-ow and the sizzle is what it's all about for you. That's why we all start out as Ultimate Warrior fans and we end up Bret Hart fans.
As our House of Kayfabe music in wrestling Not expert, but I would say that that's my greatest passion with it is that crossover of Mark Marrow being Little Richard. I mean, there's no denying that the Johnny B. Bad character was Little Richard, and his likeness to that is just so cool. Tutti Frutti on Rudy, baby. But yeah, that story was great, and that was my number one because of that. But if not, I probably, man, that Papa Shango Superstars.
Okay.
Would have been my honorable mention.
That's a very toyetic one. Very toyetic. That's what I love about that line. Back to that line is that it's so toyetic. Although I'm going to go ahead and go with my number one since it kind of leads from Matt's, and we'll let Derek Jones go last. Because the San Francisco toy makers, 90s, late mid 90s figures are kind of what got me back into collecting. I found this huge giant figure, and I love that it was based on the LJNs. You know, like it occurred to me. Then they were based off the LJNs and thing again. And I didn't collect those figures as I'm talking about the 8-inch guys. I didn't collect those figures as a kid. Didn't have any of them, not a single one, never owned them. But yet as an adult, it's like my favorite. They're my favorite for some reason. And there's like 3 different variations of the Nasty Boys. There's 3 different variations of Harlem Heat. And so somehow I started down this path of collecting the Harlem Heat figures. And this was a grail piece to me that arrived this year. And it's mint on card, very minty. It's the 2-pack Booker T and Stevie Ray, the Harlem Heat tag team. The red, which we found out in this Christmas episode, the red ones are hard to come by. And these are, if you do see them loose, they're all banged up. Like people played with these figures, you know, and they get scuffs on them. And I got a sweet deal on this. And shout out to the person who took my offer on eBay.
That's the downfall of those figures is that out of the package, it's almost impossible to keep them.
And inevitably, they're so packed in there. Like these figures will have packaging on the rear ends. If I were to open them, you would be able to see the packaging having rubbed off.
What variation? Is that the hardest variation to come by?
Allegedly, it is. Allegedly, this is series 2 of the 2-packs, and I can't remember, but I think the 2-packs. Yeah, the 2-packs were the Nasty Boys, Harlem Heat in the red, and then the Hulk Hogan and Sting. And there were several variations of those through the years. But I think those were the first 3 2-packs that came out in series 2. And so I think there had been Harlem Heat figures individually, but I think this was the first 2-pack. I might be wrong.
There's navy blue and purple.
Navy blue. Well, the 2 different purples, dark purple and light purple, I guess is what some people say. Red and then the black.
Black. Yeah.
Yep. So that was a big one for me. I was so stoked when it arrived, you know. Pulling that out of a box. It looked so good. And you never know when you order something off the internet, you know, until you actually get it in hand. You can zoom in on the photos and look for small things, but you don't really know until you pull it out of the package. And you know, shout out to all our great postal workers who bring us these things and handle our packages, hopefully with care. If you're listening, please handle them with care.
You should insert the video of your previous apartment. Tell the story.
Yeah, I had a VHS delivered to my apartment while it was burning. We were on the outside. My apartment did not catch on fire. I was in number 3. Number 8 was on fire. Number 7 was on fire.
But fire trucks and everything.
Fire trucks are there, man, and they're getting ready to blast water. And the postal worker pulls in, stops, just walks right out, tosses the VHS onto my counter, kind of notices the fire, and then just keeps walking and goes about his route, you know. And I was just like, and I saw that later. I saw it happen. I was just kind of like, wow, you know, we were all just dumbfounded. But then somebody had Facebook Live the whole thing. And so I got to get a clip of the postal worker just casually dropping that VHS off at the...
We'll get Barker to insert that.
The Cross Lanes collection back in April. So we have a new home now for the wrestling figure collection here on the Lee Street Lounge, I guess we could call it.
There you go. All right, Derek Jones, what's your number one, buddy?
All right. So it's not just my number one. This is the number one figure of 2022 for anybody that really looks at figures. So when we originally talked about this, the whole plan was to do figures of 2022, and then it kind of changed into figures we bought of 2022, and I just stuck with figures of 2022.
Good for you. Good for you.
Were actually purchased and released in 2022.
Good for you.
But I've seen so many people talk about this figure. There's another one coming out almost identical to it, but this is the original. This is the one that looks the best. This is probably one of the best looking figures I think I've ever purchased
of all time.
Of all time, figure. And it's the Supreme Cody. And I guess that's a little bit of a lie because I didn't actually purchase this figure. It was bought for me by guys that work for me. They know I'm a huge wrestling mark, and it showed up one day when I was not at work. Hence the top corner sticker there.
Man, nice.
And they were like, there's no way he's going to be here, and it's still going to be here in 2 days. So like they purchased this for me. I come back to work and it was sitting on my desk, wrapped up. And I was like, man, that's
awesome.
Super cool. All the variations of Cody that you can have. It's a couple different weight belts, a couple different shirts. You've got different, another set of legs. You can almost build an entire another Cody Rhodes. The only thing it doesn't come with is a torso. So you use the same torso, but like the head sculpts, everything on this figure just look absolutely amazing. The packaging is awesome. I seen the prototype of this at one of the fan fests.
Oh, that's right.
When I went to Revolution, and they had these set out, and even the prototype, I don't think looked as complete and as good as the actual production of this figure. They didn't have any of the packaging at the time. It was a loose figure that they had set out, and it looked good. But
we didn't know what Ultimate Edition really meant either, there, right?
Yeah. It's their
Supreme. Supreme Collection. Yeah.
It's their version of the Ultimate. It's the Supreme Collection, and you had the Cody and the two head sculpts when they showed it off, but they didn't show off the extra soft goods. They didn't show off the extra legs. The additional arm that has the single hand with the tape on it.
Very cool.
It just
a real nerdy question is his neck tattoo pink or red? Because I know that was a running change.
I want to say it's red in the production. Now on the prototype, it had a lighter color on it, and that's where everybody wanted to talk about it a lot. Because I have photos of this figure from Revolution, and you can see it is a much lighter color than it is on the production figure.
So, do you think that this will push Mattel to come out? They'll even go further. Because I think it will. I mean, I think that they'll be like,
this is a badass Cody figure. I mean, it's going to be hard to put any Cody figure out without it being compared to this one.
And if you see the Mattel that's coming out, it has the same entrance gear, the same ring jacket and everything, because it's the WrestleMania version of, which is, this is the gear pretty much that he wore at WrestleMania. So they're coming out with a figure just like this. I'll be curious to see how much more in detail they go with the figure just to try to outdo this, but it's going to be hard to beat.
What if it comes with two torsos so you can put the rest of the Cody?
That's basically two figures. I mean,
part of me wanted to buy a whole nother set of this so I could open it up and have two complete Cody figures.
I was just going to ask you, I know obviously you're pretty much mental and card, Derek. Do you open anything at all, or are you strictly mental and card?
I opened some things, but not a lot. Now, we talked about the new Gen Arena. I did open the Doink and Diesel. I wanted to open that Doink. I was so excited to open him. But there's not a lot that I open. Like there's a few guys that I've bought a couple of just so I could keep one open one. But most everything stays mint on card for me.
Well, I can't thank you enough for when you sent those photos to us from the Fan Fest. I mean, it felt like we were getting exclusive information, just like all the hot toy figure accounts and stuff were. And I'm going to throw in my honorable mention here because I had it out laying out. And one of the reasons I love this, well, there's lots of reasons I love this figure. It's got a story, but it was released this year. It was a new purchase for me. And so I'm going to add it since a couple of mine were not exactly released this year. And I'm a Chris Jericho mark. And so when I saw that Corazon de Leon was going to be released from the AEW line, thanks to my buddy Derek, who texted me a photo, I knew I have to have this. I saw Jericho in Smoky Mountain in Beckley, West Virginia in the early 90s, and I've been connected to him ever since. Just like he's my favorite wrestler, basically. Even though we're kind of on a break right now, you can't deny his legendary career. I love that they let him do this figure. It's of his early gear when he was wrestling as a luchador in Mexico. He's such a young man on the cover there, and I just love this figure. And as soon as Derek, and I just got it a couple weeks ago. And when was FanFest? When was that Revolution? Was that January or something?
February.
Okay, it's early in the year, January, for sure. Yeah. So I've been wanting this figure all year long, and I finally picked it up just before Christmas. And it's now mine. It's in the collection. And I wouldn't have thought, again, like there's lots of Jericho figures. I thought AEW, like they've done every Jericho they could do. I'm not going to need, I got the first couple, but I don't need all of them. But then here they come. They knew they would get me somehow. And here they are with the Luminaries.
That Luminary series is super cool. They could do a whole lot with that. You know, the first Luminary they come out with was Sting, which was the Walmart pre-order that kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back.
There you go. That was it, huh?
But it's such a good figure. It was so cool that they released it. And then the Jericho come out, and they're going to release an Owen like that, even though there's a ringside exclusive Owen. They're going to release Owen in a Luminary series.
Oh, interesting. Well. Yeah. Cool. Wow, that's cool. Is there any figures you did not get from this year? I've got a couple that I did not get, or I'm yet to get, that were released this year. And had I got them, they definitely would have been on my best of list, I think. Is there anything you're wanting to pick up, Derek?
There's a couple that I've pre-ordered I haven't received yet, and it's the Kenny and the Bucks in their Street Fighter gear. I really wanted those. You know, people see them as figures from Halloween of this year, but in reality, if you go to AEW in Charleston, the first year they were in Charleston, that was actually the ring gear they wore out to that show in Charleston, West Virginia. So that was super cool to me. So I wanted those figures for sure.
Was that GameStop?
Yeah, GameStop exclusives, which I say that like I'm not going to buy every series of the Bucks that comes out anyway, but
this one's especially.
It's got a good story for me.
Definitely.
There were a few things that come out that I kind of let slip by me. The one that it hasn't released yet, but I kind of kicked myself for not pre-ordering that Logan Paul figure. I'm still not sold on him, but man, rookie of the year for that guy. Absolutely.
No doubt.
Stellar to just come out of nowhere and be as good as he is. You know, I really should have pre-ordered that because I know the pre-orders are closed on it. So I got to find one as it releases, hopefully.
Secondary market. Yep.
Yeah.
And to come out, have your biggest matches and have a figure, an ultimate figure come out your debut year, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we know Logan's a collector. He's a toy guy. He gets it. You could tell he thought that was just as cool.
The video of him receiving his figure or looking at the prototype was really what made me want to get that figure, is because he had an emotional connection. The way we talked at the beginning of this video, he had a true emotional connection with a figure of himself. And you could see he was taken back by it. And I was like, man, that's super cool. I need to buy that.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. What about you, Matt? You also moved this year, so sometimes that puts a pause on our collection and on our.
Well, and so there's a lot of stuff in storage right now in in totes. One thing that I really look forward to doing, and I haven't, is build my Vince McMahon figure.
Oh, nice!
That are in these really shitty figures, because I think the Shawn Michaels is not as bad as the bald figure.
There he is.
There you go, Matt.
It's pretty rough. Hey, look at you.
Yeah. So I bought that full series to go with that monstrosity because I bought the ring. And I'm like, if I got the ring, I got to have this version of Vince McMahon, Right.
You have to.
And
that bread is so bad, though. I sent it to Heath. I texted him a picture the day I bought it. He was like, "That's the Brett that worked me, brother."
The bread. The bread is awful. Awesome. And Matt, we're talking about things being meant on card. Obviously, I opened all 4 of those. I only kept one of the 4 figures. I got rid of the other 3. I gave them to a friend that his kid likes wrestling, so I gave them to them. But I kept the AJ, big AJ mark. So
nice, yeah.
I kept the AJ in and out of box.
Actually good.
That was probably the best one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, a couple things I did not get. There was a Nikki ASH basic that came out. I've been collecting her cards. I was into that gimmick. It's already over, and so I'm hoping that figure doesn't become really hard to get. But she had a basic that came out. There was the Chainsaw Charlie, Terry Funk, that I kept putting off, and then I missed out on it towards the end of the year, and then also the Terry Funk Coliseum collection.
I'm really excited about that series. I can't believe that they're doing that based off the LJNs. That is so freaking cool.
It's really cool. Yeah, it's cool. And the fact I didn't pre-order that thing is a miracle. I don't know what bill I had to pay that month or whatever it was, but I didn't do it. I'll get one though. I'll get one secondary market a year from now. Probably they'll probably be a little more affordable. Hopefully,
let the heat die down on him a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
I don't know when I pre-ordered the Heels and Faces Danhausen for Adam and I, but it was a long time ago. It might have been before this year.
It's coming, right?
I guess. I mean,
I think they just put out an update that said it was like halfway on the boat or something.
Yeah. Did you order it like in time to get the teeth?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, I haven't got mine either, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, I want that bag of teeth.
Well, maybe next year for our end of year wrap up, we'll have the Danhausen.
Well, I think it speaks volumes for what Zombie Sailor is doing with all these other companies that, like Myers said, the only figures that he's going to continue to collect men on card to go with his Hasbro's is the Heels and Faces. So that says a lot. Like,
yeah, that's true.
And seeing that Jeff Jarrett figure of his. What else? I think it was just it's the Jeff Jarrett in package orange card next to some other orange cards. It was just awesome to see.
Yeah, really cool. The figure we thought that maybe was going to happen and it never happened, and now it's finally here. Man, what a year to be a figure collector. 2023, no doubt, going to have even more stuff to come. So I think it's time to wrap this one up. We're going to give it the DDT sign. We're going to go home, back to the House of Kayfabe. For Matt Mullins, for Derek Jones, I'm Adam Harris, signing off here on the House of Kayfabe.